John, in the 1960s, the CIA spent $20 million surgically implanting microphones inside of live cats. They sewed antennas through their spines and out their tails. The first cat was sent on a mission outside the Russian embassy in Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm.
What happened next?
Next, they experimented by putting microphones and cameras on pigeons and tried to train them to land on the windowsills of the Soviet embassy in Washington. Those experiments failed. I mean, they were able to get the pigeons and the cats to go over to the Soviet compound, but they couldn't pick anything up that was meaningful.
Did you know the first cat got hit by a bus?
No, that's just perfect.
Have you ever thought that an animal was spying on you?
An animal, no. But I did go to a demonstration in 2018 in Washington where there seemed to be an inordinate number of dragonflies around the speakers. And then when I got up to the dais, the stage, I realized that they were drones, little teeny tiny drones. I thought that was just scandalous.
When was this?
This was 2018.
Dragonfly drones.
Mm-hmm.
They're that small.
Yeah. They're big enough only to hold a microphone. That's it. But, I mean, it's a public speaking event. You can just listen. You don't need to fly a dragonfly drone up to the podium. There's no secret taking place. And I wondered if it was like a training exercise.
That's really fascinating. Have you ever inserted a microphone inside of an animal or used
not
anything
inside
like that?
of an animal. I was very conventional in that respect. I only broke into houses to plant bugs 3 or 4 times over the course of my career. And it was always very conventional, you know, in an ashtray, under a flower pot, something like that. Not in an animal.
That's fascinating. For people who are unfamiliar with your story, so you spent 14 years at the CIA, that's right. You helped capture some of the most dangerous terrorists alive. Then a single interview on TV in 2007 ended your career, your marriage, and sent you to federal prison. What exactly did you say that made you go to prison?
I said, what did I say that made me go to prison? Well, it depends on your point of view. What I said that started the whole slow motion chain of dominoes falling was that the CIA was torturing its prisoners, that torture was official U.S. government policy, and that the policy had been personally approved by the president himself. What they ended up getting me on was something much more innocuous. So they charged me with 5 felonies, including 3 counts of espionage. The espionage charges all came from that interview and a subsequent interview that I did with the New York Times. But what they got me on was in the summer of 2008, a journalist wrote to me and said, I'm writing a book on the Abu Omar rendition. Abu Omar was a cleric in Milan, Italy, that the CIA kidnapped and sent to Egypt to undergo torture. Can you introduce me to any of these 12 people so I can interview them for my book? I said, I don't know any of these people. And then he wrote me back and said, what about these people? And I said, I don't know these people. Kidnapping was not my thing at the agency. I didn't work with the kidnappers. And I said, you clearly know this issue better than I do. All I know is what I've read in the Washington Post. And then he said, what about the guy that you mention on page 100 and whatever of your book? I think his name is John. And I said, oh, you're talking about John Doe. I don't know whatever happened to him. He's probably retired and living in Virginia somewhere. And that's where they got me. I confirmed the last name of that former colleague, and that's what they hung me on.
Right. And how long were you sent to prison?
23 months. I was sentenced to 30 months. I did 23 months.
And how many people actually involved in the torture program, like the creation of it, enacting out specific torture, covering up the program, were sent to prison?
Exactly 0. I was the only person in any way associated with the torture program who went to prison, and I was the one who blew the whistle on it.
Can you give me an example of someone who is directly known to have done something?